illegal migration makes us all less safe. The scourge of illegal migration. We cannot tolerate people coming here.
People gaming the system.
Stop pretending that they are all refugees in distress.
Claims of being trafficked are lies.
Uncontrolled and illegal migration is simply bad.
I would love to be having a front page of the Telegraph with a plane taking off to Rwanda. That's my dream. That's my dream. It's
when will
my
that
obsession.
happen?
They have overwhelmed our asylum system. Some 40,000 people have crossed this year alone, more than double the number of arrivals by the same point last year. Since 2018, some 85,000 people illegally entered the United Kingdom by small boat. We've seen a 500% increase in small boats crossings in 2 years.
This is the number of people arriving in the UK on small boats. You say there it's gone up, and it has 45,755. This is under a Conservative government, and it's also partly under you as Home Secretary. Do you accept that things are failing?
I accept we've got an unsustainable problem. I've been very clear about that.
Look at the rise. It's under
I'm aware of the numbers.
Do you admit
the problem
Conservatives are failing?
The context is important.
We are currently accommodating unaccompanied asylum-seeking children in hotels.
We've been forced to accommodate people in hotels.
I've been, frankly, very dismayed and appalled to find that we're spending, on average, £150 per person per night to accommodate people in hotels. By my standard, that's quite a nice hotel. And upon my review...
Currently costing the British taxpayer £5 million a day.
£6.8 million a day for hotel accommodation.
Asylum seekers in temporary accommodation, you can see it's spiking there. Do you take responsibility for this as Home Secretary?
Well, you want to talk about things that have happened. I will show you some progress, actually.
Promised it will end, but can you just honestly say this morning it's not going to end this year in 2023?
Well, the Prime Minister's made the key pledge to stop the boats. It's going to be pretty obvious when we've succeeded in achieving that.
We've now introduced it. We're going to go through the process in Parliament. I encourage all of my colleagues to support this bill so that we get these powers on the statute book as quickly as possible.
When will people be sent to Rwanda?
Well, again, we are...
We need to be straight with the public. The system is broken. Illegal migration is out of control, and too many people are more interested in playing political parlour games, covering up the truth, than solving the problem.
There are potentially 100 million people around the world who are currently displaced.
There are 100 million people around the world who could qualify for protection under our current laws.
There are 100 million displaced people worldwide. That is true. Only a quarter of them have left their own country. So even the 100 million figure doesn't hold up, let alone the billions that you have flagged in the Daily Mail this morning.
I think we can look at, we can argue about the numbers of the millions of people around the world who would like to come in the United Kingdom.
It's not an argument. Only 26 million have even left their own country. And 45,000 were in boats coming over to the UK.
Yes,
so yes, what we're dealing with here is tens of thousands, isn't it?
What we're dealing with is an unsustainably high number.
Of unlimited and illegal migration.
It's breaking our laws to come here without a legal basis.
A convicted sex offender from South Africa.
This year has seen a surge in the number of Albanian arrivals, Madam Deputy Speaker.
A paedophile from Pakistan received 10 years in prison, but at the end of his prison sentence, he put in a spurious claim to be a modern slave.
We are working to ensure Albanian cases are processed and individuals are removed as swiftly as possible.
White girls who have been living in troubled circumstances, in challenging situations, have been abused, exploited, drugged, raped by networks of gangs of rapists, and we have to be honest about the fact that some of these gangs have been overwhelmingly British Pakistani males.
It does come from the left, definitely, because some of these ideas like white privilege and is based on a critical race theory that's espoused generally by the left. It's a feature of a particular politicised view of race and gender.
Concerns about political correctness, worries about being called bigoted. Practice whereby vulnerable white English girls, sometimes in care, sometimes who are in challenging circumstances, being pursued and raped and drugged and harmed by gangs of British Pakistani men who've worked in child abuse rings or networks. The very serious, devastating claims by young white girls who've complained about being raped and abused by networks and rapists who have come from the British Pakistani male community. There's been a communal shutting down
so you
in
put the
these
responsibility
areas.
on the community for not speaking out?
On a misassumption, in my view, that ethnic minorities, myself as an Asian woman, must necessarily be a victim of white privilege, must necessarily be a victim of white fragility. I mean, these ideas are anathema to meritocracy, to British values, to creating a cohesive society. And I was really disappointed that a lot of time and resource is being spent on this within my department, within the civil service. Because of the colour of my skin and my heritage, I have to think a certain way, and I can't declare certain truths on migration.
You annoy them, don't you? Because you're not left-wing.
I hope I annoy them. That would be my delight if I'm annoying the left. There are now many concerning examples of how inclusion has trumped fairness.
My mother came here from Mauritius and my father came here from Kenya. They felt a deep connection and love for Britain even before they came here. It is a love that I share, and I've never seen any inconsistency in that, for no inconsistency exists.
My parents came here through safe and legal routes. My mother was recruited by the NHS. My dad came here because he was effectively kicked out of Kenya in the 1960s. But they came here legitimately. That was the policy of the government. They came here, they integrated, they loved this country from afar as children of empire. They don't, by the way, have any qualms about extolling the virtues of the British Empire. It was the British Empire that brought infrastructure, the legal system, the civil service, the military to countries like Mauritius and Kenya.
Mo Farah was trafficked when he was 9. You probably know this. He's won 6 gold Olympic medals. Under your new scheme, he would have been deported when he was 18. Is that the case?
Well, as I said, we are very proud of our world-leading modern slavery
is that the case?
Regime. Let me just answer your question.
Please.
And we've got world-leading protections on human trafficking.
I'm a 16-year-old orphan from an East African country escaping a war zone and religious persecution. And I have a sibling legally in the United Kingdom at the moment. What is a safe and legal route for me to come to the United Kingdom?
Well, we have... You're fleeing which country, sorry?
Any African country.
Any African country. Well...
Be any continent, but let's say any African country. I don't want to name one because then their Prime Minister might have a go at me for demonising their population. So let's just theoretically talk about an African country which is going through a period of turbulence and which is persecuting its citizens, including an innocent 16-year-old like me.
Well, we have an asylum system and people can put in applications for asylum.
How would I do that?
Well, you can do it through the safe and legal routes that we have. We have offered 390,000 places to people seeking safety from various countries around the world.
I'm not Syrian, I'm not Afghan, I'm not Ukrainian, not any of those specific schemes. The Dub scheme is historic. What scheme's open to me?
Well, if you are able to get to the UK, you are able to put in an application for asylum.
But I would only enter the UK illegally then, wouldn't I?
Well, that would, if you put in your application for asylum upon arrival, that would
be the process that you enter.
How could I arrive in the UK if I didn't have permission to get onto an aircraft legally to arrive in the UK?
Let me just invite other colleagues if there's anything they want to add.
There's been a takeover of the human resources sector by politicised lobby groups.
You take public money?
It is funded by public money, and it has been for many years, yeah.
How many government ministers are in it?
I'm not going to say how many government ministers are in it because it is essentially a group of members
It's
of
a secret society, is it?
It's not a secret society, it's a European research group.
So why won't you say how many ministers are in it?
It's a group of MPs who are supporting the government to deliver a Brexit which works for everybody, representing all strands.
So why can't you tell us who's in it?
If
we pay for it, we ought to know who's in it.
It's a group of MPs which is committed to delivering the government's agenda.
Yeah, but who?
And supporting the government.
Sorry, you just said you take public money, therefore the public ought to know where its money is going. Who are the members?
It's all on the public record, and people are able to disclose their name. I've told you, and
where
I'm not
can
going
we see
to change,
the list?
That the members of the European Research Group are a group of MPs who support the government's agenda in delivering
But where can we see the list of members?
The list of members is kept by the European Research Group.
So where can we see it, the people who pay for it?
It's available if necessary.
I'm asking you, therefore it's necessary. Where can I see this list?
It's available because everyone has to declare...
Okay, well, can I have it?
This is not something...